Hello, viewers. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. And we welcome you once again to our second edition of our PhET training simulation, of using PhET simulations on our OGSERA platform and every EduTimes platform you have. And once again, I am Quincy Ademola. So for those of you streaming, both on the Google Meet and on the YouTube, I'm saying once again, welcome. So I have quite a lot of a lot of people that they are going to be teaching us, and we are going to be sharing in their wealth of knowledge. I have I have quite a lot of people, and I'm going to be introducing them one later, and also we're also going to be learning. We're also going to be learning from a lot of people, and for us to be able to improve our learning outcomes in our various classes. So with me here, I have Mr. Olushola Olateju, one of our great persons in the academia. We are so pleased to have you. Welcome, sir. We are so pleased to have you. You're welcome, sir. I have Mr. Zach Mbasu from Kenya, all the way from Kenya. It's a honor having you, and we do not take it lightly. We do not take it for granted. Thank you very much for joining in. I have Mr. Alaba Ogushino from Lagos. Sir, it's a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for joining in. We have Mr. Osho Olushola, one of our very own in Ogun State. So we say thank you so much for joining in. We say thank you so much for joining in. So we won't be wasting much of our time because we understand that we just resumed for us for the first term in the 2022-2023 session. So we understand the peculiarities going on. So we'll just dive straight in, and please, Mr. Olateju, please tell us something, and just we want to hear from you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, Quincy. Good morning, everyone. It's always a pleasure to connect with educators to explore ways where we can improve our practice, but also just like we're exploring today, we're considering PhET Sims, which is definitely dear to me because I'm confident it has such big opportunities to address some of the peculiar issues we have, both around limited internet access, but also improving student engagement and excitement around what science is and how they can understand that, same beyond what might be possible even in a physical lab. So I'm excited to be joining today, but I'm just here to also support and join and share everyone on, maybe answer questions if there are any along the way. I'll hand it over back to Quincy and then Zach and to take over. But it's your joy to present here today. And good morning again, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Ogun State. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir, Thank you so much. So, Mr. Zach, like we discussed earlier, so we'll be giving you the floor so you get to tell everybody what PhET is, because I'm going to be very sincere with you. For us here in this part of our world, it's a bit. So we really want to hear from the horse's mouth. We want to learn from you and want to know what it really entails. So please, you can have the floor, sir.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Zach Mbasu. I am based in Nairobi, Kenya, and I am the African lead at PhET Interactive Simulations. And I champion the use of PhET simulations to improve math and science education across Africa. So I'm really excited to be here, and it's such an honor to meet educators and just share with them. We'll begin by telling you a little bit about PhET simulations, and then I will show you what the PhET simulations are. So PhET was founded in 2002 by a Nobel Prize winner called Carl Wieman, and it is based at the University of Colorado. And what PhET does is that we create free interactive math and science simulations. And these simulations are based on extensive education research, and they engage students through an intuitive game-like environment where students learn and play through exploration and discovery. So they discover things on their own. So I will share my screen so that I can show you where do you access these PhET simulations. I think it has already been mentioned that actually, the platform that you have, you can access the PhET simulations. But in addition to that, you can access the PhET simulations via any browser. So I'm going to share my screen. Share my screen, and okay, so yeah, could you just confirm what you can see on your screen right now?
Okay, the slide is up now. We see the website.
Okay, awesome. So this is the website, phet.colorado.edu. So whenever you want to access the PhET simulation, you can either access them directly through this website or through the platform that has been shared earlier. So we have simulations in different STEM subjects. We have simulations in physics, chemistry, math, earth science, and biology. And you can see here we have simulations, about 159 simulations, and they are in different languages, including Hausa, and more are being translated into more languages. And then we have over 3,000 teacher activities or submitted lessons that you can pick and adapt and be able to reuse. Just one more important thing that I wanted to mention is that PhET you can access it online. However, we recognize that we have schools and teachers and students who do not have access to internet. So we also do have like an offline access where you can download this and install it on your computer. Then you'll be able to access it on your machine even when you don't have internet. And then one last thing is that you can also access the PhET simulations on phone. You can install it as an app on your phone, and you can have access to the PhET simulations. So I will dive straight in and so that you see how to get the simulations themselves. Let me just increase this a bit. So you can see we have simulations in physics, and you can filter. If you're a physics teacher, you can just filter the physics simulations alone. If you're a chemistry teacher, you can select the simulations in chemistry. Same to biology, same to math. So you can narrow down to specific subject and get simulations in specific subjects. Also, these simulations, they cover various academic levels. We have simulations for elementary school, middle school, high school, and university level. And then we also do use different technologies. We are really trying to convert all of our simulations to HTML5 so that they can be more accessible. We do have, we recognize, learners with special needs. So we have some inclusive features that I will not really highlight, right now, but you can explore them on your own. And I've already mentioned about, the different languages that you can find the PhET simulations in. So I will share an example of how, an example for PhET simulation. Maybe I can try and share a simulation in the different subject areas so that you can just have a feel of what those simulations are. So the first one that I'm going to share, just show you how to search. So you can either select from here, or you can come at the top here and just select. For example, if I want a simulation in circuit construction, and then I will select that simulation. It is going to load up, and when it loads up, this is the page that you receive. Before diving into the simulation itself, we have an about section here that gives an overview, like what topics can you teach using this PhET simulation. What are some of the learning goals that you can be able to teach using that particular simulation. Then we do have, teacher resources also. So teaching resources on the on this tab here, you need to have created an account in order for you to be able to access that teaching resource, and creating the account is basically free. And then we also have activities that have been developed by other teachers, lesson activities, ideas on how you can teach using this PhET simulation. So you can come here, you get inspired, you pick a few elements, and then you can adapt it to your lesson. But let me just dive straight into the simulation itself. So to launch the simulation, you click on the simulation itself, and it is going to load up. It's going to load up. So as it is loading up, there are a few things that I would like to highlight. That assimilation on its own can be useful. However, you require the input of a teacher to be able to help to address the specific learning goal that you're trying to teach. Sorry, this is taking time to load. Let me just try and see if I'll get to this balancing chemical equation simulation. So here is an example of balancing chemical equation simulation, and you can see we have a molecule here, we have another molecule here. So you can try and like balance this equation. So you can select a molecule here, and then here you can decide and also like balance that equation. So here you can get the learners, for example, to distinguish between the coefficient and the superscript. So what does this coefficient really mean? And what does this superscript mean? What does this 3 in front of this H mean? And what does the 2 mean? And how does it really balance? How do the bigger molecules, like how are they broken into smaller molecules? So you can ask these questions to a learner, and they can play around with this, and they'll be able to balance like a chemical equation, which is very interactive and fun. Here is another example of a chemical equation that learners can be able to play with it and just and balance. Let me try and get it wrong and see what happens. So you see, like there's like it's going to intuitively give you feedback on how to be able to balance that chemical equation. And here's another example that you can be able to use. In physics, we have this simulation, and this simulation is called circuit construction kit. And you can see elements here that you can use to construct or connect wires, and be able to explore the principles of electricity. For example, you could ask learners to try and explore what are the things that can make a light bulb to work. What do you need, for example? So for example, here you can pick a wire here, and then you can pick another wire and just connect it down here. You can have a power source, connect this power source to the wire here. I have another wire here, connect this other wire here. Include maybe a switch. You want to include a switch, and then you also want to include a bulb, for example, because you want them to explore things that can help principles of electricity. What is it that they can do in order for this bulb to be able to light? So you can pose questions and ask them to predict what will happen if they switch on, if they close that particular switch, and then once they have predicted, discussed, then you can close the switch, and then they see what is happening, and have discussions around it. You can lead a very beautiful lesson, for example, about different kinds of conductors. For example, if you scroll down here, you have different conductors here. What happens if you put here a dollar bill? Is it going to transmit, electricity or not? And then they can see that actually, when you connect it, like the bulb is not lighting, which indicates that it's not really a good conductor, of heat. You can try a paperclip, and they can explore. They can explore the paperclip, connect it there, and they see that the bulb can light, and they can come up with a conclusion on whether that paperclip is a good conductor or not. And you can try other different things. How about if you put there a pencil? Is the bulb going to light? Will it be a good conductor of electricity or not? So they can switch on, and they can see, like, even though that it's conducting, the bulb is not lighting very well. They can measure the voltage across maybe the pencil. They can be able to measure the voltage across the bulb and be able to discuss that voltage. Let me show you maybe a math one. This is called graphing quadratics, and here you basically have like a quadratic equation. And you can actually ask learners to be able to predict what is going to happen to this quadratic curve when you change the coefficients of this quadratic equation. What happens if you change the coefficient of x squared? Is it going to, what change is going to happen? Then they can predict, they can have discussions, and then you can move around things. They can change the variables to see what is happening, and just lead a very beautiful discussion during this lesson. The last one is biology. Here is just showing is a natural selection simulation, and you can just try to explore. Learners can explore what happens when I introduce wolves. I introduce wolves when there's a huge population of of the bunnies. And what happens if I have limited food? What is going to happen to the population? What are the conditions, or what are the ways to get the bunny population to take over? And they can explore the proportions, and discover what happens if you have a dominant, for example, bunny that has fur, and things like that. So this gives you just a quick overview of the things that you can be able to do with the simulations. And as I mentioned, we have simulations in all the three science subjects that you can just be able to explore and be able to use. Then one last thing that I want to particularly mention is the steps that you use to implement a PhET simulation. So you just don't take a PhET simulation and take it to the classroom and then leave it for the learners to play with it. But just like any other tool, you need to define a specific learning goal to be achieved, so that as you're going to the class, you're using the PhET simulation just as a tool to achieve the learning goal, so that the focus is on the objective of the lesson, as opposed to just them using the learning goal. And as you start using the simulation, you want to encourage students to use sense making and to reason, to allow them to explore and experiment with the simulation. Also, you want to be connecting with and building on students' prior knowledge and understanding, including the possible misconceptions that they might be having before starting that new concept that you want. And then also, it is good to connect and make sense of the real world experiences. So where do we use electricity, for example? So that they, in as much as they play with the simulations, they connect it with the real world. How does the lighting in our rooms, like or in our houses, work with electricity? And then as they work through the simulations, you want to encourage productive and collaborative activities. You want to pair them up. You want to put them in groups to discuss, and then come back together and share what they have also discussed. And also, we found out that students really enjoy just exploring and discovering new things from the simulation. So it is good not to limit the students' exploration, just sometimes allow them to make mistakes and then discuss those mistakes with them, so that they can learn from the mistakes that they make. And as they do that, you can ask them about the reasoning in words. Can they make diagrams of what they perceive about the concepts that they have. And then lastly, it is important to monitor their understanding. You can check their understanding by asking them questions so that you can really know that they're actually gaining from interacting with the simulations. So maybe that's what I wanted to share for now. And I'm happy to take up questions if you do have questions that are related to the PhET simulations. Thank you. Yeah, are there questions that are related to what I've shared that I can take on?
Quincy, are you still on? Are you still with us? Okay, if there are no questions, while we wait for Quincy to get back on the call, I don't know, Mr. Ogushina and Mr. Olushola, I understand you also will be sharing. Is this a good time for you
Hello?
to get started?
Yes. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Èmi tiẹ̀ ń wo àwọn kíní tí mo tẹ̀ fẹ́ lò mo ṣí kò tiẹ̀ tí come up but màá take over tó bá ti come
Are
up.
you there, Mr. Alaba?
Okay. All right. Yeah. Kò sí problem mo lè take over. Kò sí problem.
Okay, while we are.
What would you like me to say?
Okay, we'll just wait for Quincy. Let's just take a minute. I'll try to get across to her, and
Yeah, maybe as we wait for her,
okay.
yeah, I can highlight a few other things that like what does really what barriers does PhET simulation like help with science teachers overcome, even with little technologies that we do have. So first, I think that in our context, I'm sure Nigeria is very similar to Kenya, where we do have like inadequate resources and inadequate facilities. So hello.
Yeah, we hear you, Zach. We can go on. I think Quincy is back
Yeah.
on.
So it really helps to address shortage of like laboratory equipment, but also on top of that, even if you have laboratory equipment, you saw like with the electric circuit, you could be able to see the electrons moving inside the wire, and that really helps students to visualize the microscientific science concepts that they experience even when they have the lab equipment. And then PhET simulations also allow for students to interact with the simulations, to experiment and learn on their own. So it also helps to address if there's inadequate number of STEM teachers in a school. While I was a teacher, I was the only math and physics teacher in the school, and there were times when I am required in 3 or 4 different classrooms at the same time. And so I would like allow students to just play around with a particular simulation while I'm teaching, for example, a math lesson. And then the third barrier is that it is very typical in our African context, especially, to just like lecture to students and put knowledge into their heads. A lot of rote learning. So these poor teacher pedagogical practices like don't really help our learners. So PhET simulations allow us to, allow learners to be more engaged, to be mentally engaged and active during the lessons. And research has shown that this active learning is much more effective when students are like really involved. And then the last thing is, generally on the continent, in my country and in many African countries, students really lack the interest in the STEM topics. But the way the PhET sims have been designed, they are interactive, they are fun, they are game-like, and it really makes them learning the science subjects interesting and fun. So it really boosts the interest of the STEM topics, students' interest in STEM topics and STEM subjects that they are interested in. So that's what I really wanted to share, that the PhET simulations make STEM learning more like doing. They are engaging, students interact and discover ideas. They connect to everyday life. They are accessible. You can access them, offline, online. They are very intuitive. Students can just like see things to press, and then they see how the variables are changing, and in the end, they begin to understand. And they help us teachers to improve our STEM practices, to improve our pedagogy, and develop understanding for students as they are dealing with the different STEM topics that they are learning. So PhET is really committed to expand the reach to more teachers, educators, and learners. And I'm glad that EduTerms is also helping with this. And we dream of the impact of PhET pedagogy that we could have in more schools and more communities that can result in more learning in classrooms and effective teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. I think Quincy is having issues with her connection. So if there are questions, you can please write in the chat, and myself, Mr. Olushola, Mr. Ogunshino, and Zach will be happy to get to that. I see Kayode Adewale writing in the chat, but yeah, please, if you have questions, just post in the chat. Increasingly, I know that the majority of us, considering that OGSG is basically tied to the Ogun State government, I'm not sure how much of a challenge it's been, or how much of our learners are not first speakers of English. By that I mean some of them are not comfortable enough around English, and we've seen cases where teachers are forced also to explore teaching in English, which is the language of instruction, and then explaining and making efforts to drive understanding and help students see how that applies in real life and in their context. Another way FETIM is supporting or making that available is making the SIMs accessible and available in Yoruba language. And I'm going to share my screen in a bit and show us how to access, or how we can also use the SIMs alongside how we can use the SIM in Yoruba alongside the instruction, or how in whatever way we see that can support our classroom. So just a minute while I share. Um, sorry, share screen. Okay, there you go.
Sorry to say, I can't see Mr. Shola. Neither can I see his screen. I hope he's still with us.
Shola, we seem to have lost you. Shola, we lost you. Hi, Kayode. Yeah, so yeah, we seem to have lost Shola. So if there are questions that related to there are questions that are related to the PhET simulations, I'm happy to answer them. Meanwhile, Adewale, you can yeah, you can take over. Sorry, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
Please, quickly, can you unmute your
Thank you
mic?
so much, Mr. Thank you so much, Mr. Zach. I have, like I said earlier, I said we have a very peculiarity in Nigeria, which is network issues. So thank you so much for at least I was there. I saw all of the presentations, and I hope our teachers, wherever they are right now, they get to understand what PhET is all about. And I want to use this medium also to so, Mr. Zach, I thank God for the opportunity that you're here. So, one of the challenges we have is because PhET is partitioned in about 5 major subjects, which is physics, biology, mathematics, and earth sciences. So, some of the teachers have actually been complaining to me that it is not suitable for them for their junior schools. You know, in Nigeria, for our junior schools, which is our GSS 1 to 3, I don't know how you partition that in your country. We do basic science and technology. Basically, it's just a combination of just say it's a lower level of biology, and physics and chemistry, but on lower range. So they feel that they are not carried along. They feel they are not carried along. The majority of the materials being produced are just Are you with me, sir? Mrs. Zak, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, go
Yes,
ahead.
So
We can hear you. Yes.
my teachers feel they feel majority of the materials are not suitable for them because and for the junior schools now, not the second, you know, the senior schools, they do biology, physics and chemistry, but now there's for the junior schools, they feel they do not have enough materials for them to utilize in their classrooms. So that is one of the major challenges that we have here in Nigeria. And so usually it has an open source library on each of our portal, which every user have access to. So usually so I want to also use this medium also to notify the general public that once you search, I'm talking to the teachers most especially, once you search for either in mathematics, we also have materials for the lower level classes like the kindergartens, the nursery. So we also have earth sciences subjects that are suitable, materials that are suitable for the nurseries, the primaries, and also the secondary schools. So we want to use this opportunity also to implore the entire faith. As okay, I have Mr. Olateju. So Mr. Olateju, you missed what I said. So I said, let me just recap a bit, because of Mr. Olateju. So I said
No, I
most
heard
of
you.
the
I was
most of
following
the
through. Please go ahead.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So we want to also use this medium also to tell FET to please, if possible, they can give us more content for the lower level classes, like the basic classes, because they need it more. When we talk about educational technology for the nurseries, they need it more, and I've been getting questions like schools. It is just that on the senior schools is not suitable for us. So please, we would appreciate it if more materials could also come for the junior schools, we would really, really appreciate it. Mr. Olateju, I hope you got that, sir.
Yeah, yes, I did. Thank you for the feedback. So increasing the
Hello, sir.
virus. Do you hear me?
Okay.
Yes. So we're constantly working to make the SIMs increasingly accessible at all levels. Most of the concepts apply across board. It's the reason that you would see some of the SIMs now have a basic version. So most of the basic version will meet the need of lower grade students, and there are more maths courses and stats or data courses that have been published. Some of them are number line, and just look at some of the newly published around maths. And or most importantly, I think I should just, if I can share my screen and show you what is currently available for junior school learners. We understand, I completely agree and understand what the request is. Where let me share my screen so that it's easy for everyone to connect and understand what I mean. So do you see my screen now? Zach, do you see
No,
my
no, no,
screen?
no, no, no.
Not yet, sir. Not yet, sir. Not
Okay.
yet.
Okay, Zach, please can you share the screen?
Okay. Yeah. So let me share my screen.
Let's just go to the SIMS page, and in the navigation to the right, you can select the elementary school so that we can see the resources that are available and meet that need. What we do is to basically try to align with the learning objectives at those grade levels.
Can you see my screen?
Not yet. Not
Not
yet.
yet. Queensley, you have to allow us to share the screen. Excellent. So let me go to here.
Okay, great.
And what Shola is talking about is you come here and you filter by grade level.
Yeah.
So when you filter grade level, we actually have math sims, especially for elementary. So for example, this one is build a fraction. Is going to take you to build a fraction. And this is mainly for junior school and lower school levels.
Yeah. I think number play is also a very good example. If you just take a step back and then that should be the first one on the screen.
I think. Hello.
Number play is the first one, Zach. Yes, so they can see basic number, important ideas around numbers in terms of 100, tens, and units. So they can see what one is and how that applies to some common objects that they can see. If you also put one, Zach, can you put some of the cards on each other? Just drag one over one. No, yeah, the cards. It becomes 2, so they can start counting that way. So 1 + 1 = 2 = 4, and when it gets to 10, they can see how all of that applies. That even if the number is changing, the object to the right is pretty much the same. So they can really begin to see that connection and relationship. So I would encourage as well that we go on and explore the website. We're increasingly publishing resources across the grade levels. And if you look at the website, just like I mentioned, you have resources for both elementary, middle school, high school, and the university. At inception, the PhET sims were created at the university level, but the science concept are cross-cutting and applies across board. So what we are doing is, if the concept or the design at inception basically align to a particular grade level, we create abstracted version, so just a basic version that prioritizes or focuses on a particular grade level, most likely the younger ones, so that they do not cover concept as extensive or as far, and they can just focus. So basically just remove the ambiguity on distraction or things that are out of scope for them, and have a basic version that will meet their need, and they can then grow and of course go ahead to use the more advanced version as they would find need to further down the line. So yes, there are sims for all levels. I invite you to explore the site, and if you have questions, please, you can always get across to Zach or myself, and we'll be happy to support. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Zach. Thank you so much, Mr. Olateju. So I was trying to log in, so you get to see how it actually looks like on our portal actually. And I also have a particular question from one of our teachers. So, and this is one question. I'm so happy to have you on board actually. And this is one question that they've been challenging me with. So, Mr. Odu, let me just show the question. So, Mr. Odushole Ademola. So he said, my question is that we want simulation to be made available to other subjects. So now this question has been coming in back to back because the few some other sections of the education at the academia, they feel treated like it is just strictly based for the STEM subject. So this is the question. I'm happy they're asking you directly, sir. Mr. Olateju, so please answer, sir.
So as much as we would love to cover everything,
Mr. Olateju, are you there, sir?
Sorry, it
Yeah,
seems we've lost him, but I can
I think
help.
he's also battling the same problem.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So just to mention maybe what he wanted to
So
say.
please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, it is true that we don't have simulations for all the subjects and for every learning objective. That's the reality. We are doing our best to have simulations in the STEM subjects, but unfortunately, we are not making simulations in other subjects. For example, we don't make simulations for the social sciences. However, I think the most important thing is how can you connect, STEM with the other art subjects, for example. For example, I can imagine for English, you could, depending on your learning objective, you could tell students to describe something, to write something. Um, you know, uh, if it's a PhET simulation that is based on principles of electricity, can they be able to write? So if the last learning objective is about like writing, then you can do that. But that requires creativity on the part of the teacher on how they use the simulations on whatever learning objective that they want to obtain. But it's true we don't have simulations in other subjects, and even in the STEM subjects we have limitations. There are cases where we refer, educators to other resources that are available for free to be able to use. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we are so happy to have you, and we're so glad we are so glad that FETS deemed it fit to be in partnership with EduTimes. So, however, since we were talking about the science subjects, so we've actually felt that we have cases of science subjects that are actually not on board. I have the cases of the computer science, and yes, they are so clamoring. So we understand that FET has actually gone a long way to help us enjoy education better. So we also appreciate this. So, but still, we would have to implore that we keep on trying, and we also got to understand that we're already working on other languages, which is to carry everybody along, and we actually appreciate it. So, however, we on our own platform, we actually work directly. Once every user logs in, either you're a student, either you're a parent, either you're a teacher, you have access to it. Like I said, it is more or less like an open source library. But once again, so thank you so much for your time, because we have to also press forward. We have facilitators that want to see just take us, just want to also actually take us. We have the likes of Mr. Adewale Kayode that would actually just put us through quickly, and Mr. Oshola. Mr. Olateju, thank you so much for for attending within the short notice. Mr. Zach, we do not take this for granted, and we hope that once we call on you, you would answer us. And thank you so much. We also apologize for our peculiarities. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So nice having you. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Kayode, please, sir, you can have the floor, sir. You can have the floor, sir. Mr. Kayode. Okay, then. Mr. Osho, are you ready for us, sir? We are so sorry for keeping you waiting. We hope you're fine wherever you are, sir. Mr. Osho? Okay, network issues.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, Mr. Kayode, we can hear you.
All right. Very briefly, I will just go to my presentation. I've been trying to log into the module, but before that, I think I have a little presentation here. So let me start with that.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Can you see my screen?
Sir. Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, all participants joining us all over the world. My name is Kayode Adewale. I'm a Google Master Trainer. I'm a Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert. This my short presentation before I go into the PhET simulation module on the OGSERA platform. I call this enriching learning outcome through PhET simulation module on the OGSERA platform. And then what do we tend to achieve at the end of my section? This section is mainly to improve our student interest participation and learning outcome in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education, with special emphasis on the PhET simulation module on the OGSERA platform. So let's briefly look at what is PhET all about. PhET interactive simulation is a project at University of Colorado, just like Mr. Olateju have given a little illustration on what PhET is all about. It's a non-profit open educational source project that created and hosted explorable explanation, and it was funded in 2002. So what exactly is the work of PhET? PhET provides fun, free interactive, is a research-based science and mathematics simulation. Then we can extensively test and evaluate each simulation to ensure education effectiveness. So how do we use PhET simulation in the classroom? PhET simulation are particularly effective to help students to make sense of scientific concepts and make sense of our real-world experience and engage in scientific inquiry. And just like I've said, before we can talk about PhET simulation, something might have happened. Its advantage over the conventional method of teaching science is very germane. One, it gives us an opportunity to have access to real equipment, access to real data, then the so-called face-to-face interaction with teacher, which is there in that of traditional method of engaging students with science equipment and some other things. So it also has its own disadvantage too. So like I said, some of these advantage that the PhET simulation has over that of traditional setting. So for traditional setting, you have access to real equipment, but its own disadvantage is that it has a scheduled lab hour. So we all know that in Africa here, we have just 40 minutes to engage our students in the classroom. Only if you have a double period. Even if you have a double period, that will be the maximum of 80 minutes. So which may not be enough to take some certain, some certain concept in the STEM science, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Then for traditional setting, they have access to read data, but one of their disadvantages is that the cost of acquiring some of the equipment is very high. Then advantage of the traditional setting is that it gives opportunity for face-to-face interaction with teacher. But when you look at the disadvantage in the areas of maintaining those equipment, it is somehow costly. And these days, there are no lab attendants that will take care of some of these things. So, but when we look at the PhET on the other hand, because I'm actually comparing the two, the traditional ways and then also the PhET simulation module on the OGSERA platform. For PhET simulation module on the OGSERA platform, the advantage is that it has a visual demonstration of experiment and details is step-by-step explanation of the protocol. So it also has a close proximity to real lab scenario. If you are making use of the the traditional setting, there are some things that you may likely not have access to. But in a PhET simulation module, which happen to be a virtual laboratory, that the students will have opportunity to to explore those things. They have a close proximity to real lab scenario. Like in the areas of chemistry now, you ask them possibly you want to do or let's say in the areas of science, you want to test for search or do anything in that area, you are going to see all those things, in the virtual lab, which will give you an opportunity to have a kind of easy access to that laboratory without any restriction. And for PhET simulation module on the OGSERA platform, it has no technical issue. There is no issue of, I cannot use this, or you cannot do this, or you are restricted to some certain level. So sure, there's nothing that has advantage that doesn't have a disadvantage. And one of the disadvantages of PhET simulation module is that only virtual presentation. You can only do it virtually, as just the names imply, a virtual laboratory. So the another thing is that there is need for you to have a basic knowledge for operating computer. So if you are a teacher and you don't have the basic knowledge to operate computer, you may likely not use some of this PhET simulation module on the OGSERA platform. So these are some of the advantage and disadvantage of PhET simulation module on the OGSERA platform. So let me now go into the practical now. Let me go into the practical aspect of it. Am I still on? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are, sir.
Okay, if I'm still on, okay. So let me just let me take us to the PhET. Let me take us to the OGSERA platform. I think I'm trying to, let me see how I'm going to go about that. So that, let me stop presenting first. Then the next thing is for me to go to OGSERA platform to see how you can log in as a teacher into OGSERA platform to have access to PhET simulation module on OGSERA platform. So let me share my screen again. I'm going to share my screen again. So this time around, let me try to share my browser. So Ms. Kingsley, can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So if you can see my my screen, dear colleagues that are joining us all over the world, especially teachers in Ogun State, this is the dashboard of Ogun State Education Revitalization Agenda that we call OGSERA platform, and these are all the modules under this. So where do we access PhET simulation module? If you look at all the modules that we have here, we have the dashboard, the central MES, the school management, and the light. But if you want to access the PhET simulation module, you will need to come under learning management. So once you get under learning management, select the PhET simulation. So once you select the PhET simulation, select PhET simulation class. It's going to load that for you. Then you can come here. Let us assume you have a simulation in mind to use. But if you don't have any, as for me, I want to explore simulation that I know that will be useful for those students at primary school level and those ones that will be useful for students at secondary school level. So I'm going to pick this simulation that we call area builder. Can you still see my screen, Miss Queensley? Hello?
Yes, sir. We are with you, sir.
So can you still see my screen?
Yes, sir, but it's not moving yet, sir.
Okay, so I have to reshare this again because I'm actually trying to share my browser so that I will not be displaying what I'm not supposed to display in the live program. So no problem. Let me try to share my entire screen. I know where I'm going. So once you click, can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
All right. So once you click this, the next thing is for you. Like I said, you want to access PhET Simulation module on the OGSERA platform. You go to Learning Management. Under Learning Management, you click PhET, and you select the simulation class. So it's going to load all the classes for you. So let me close this so that I can have access to them. So as for me, like I said, I want to use simulation on mathematics. And I want to pick a simulation that will definitely enhance the learning outcome of students in primary school and in junior secondary school, and even those in senior secondary school can also make use of the PhET simulation module I'm going to use now. So I'm going to select my subjects, which is mathematics. Then the next thing is for me to give it some time to load. So once this load, I've seen the PhET that I want to use, which is area builder, which will enhance the learning of students in the building of what is it called? Areas. Areas is a concept in mathematics that talk about that is in the areas of plane mesolation. In the areas of our plane mesolation. So we want to look at it. So let me just give you some meaning for the PhET simulation module to load. So this PhET simulation module is talking about the area, and the subject is mathematics, and the topic is math concepts, and the subtopic is area. So if you actually look at this, well, we have the numbers of time that this has been accessed. I've accessed this for 10 times, and it's going to show me the date that I'm accessing this now. So the last time I accessed this was on today, which is 21st September, and it's going on now. So let me see. Miss Queensley, are you still with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm with you, sir.
I think something. Let's just wait for some minutes for the simulation to load. So like I said, for instance, now this it required you to have a basic knowledge of computer. That is, you must be at least be technologically inclined before you can use this. So the technicality there is not that much. Once you have the basic knowledge of accessing computer, you will definitely have access to it. And by God's grace, I know all teachers in Ogun State, both public and private school, have been profiled on the Ogun State Education Revitalization Agenda platform. So where you have access to all the simulation on it. So once you get this now, like I said, I'm going to use this to enrich the learning outcome of students in the areas of plane mesolation. And it can be useful for students in primary school and also the students in secondary school. So let me explore this. What is this simulation talking about? When you look at the top here, you see that it's actually talking about the area and it's talking about the perimeter. So if I want to use this, I have to select the graph, then select this that I want to use. So the material that I want to use is inside this container. So once I pick this out, this is talking about 1 unit per 1 unit. So the area of this is actually telling me that what? The areas of this shape that I pick here is 1 and the perimeter is 4. As we all know, what is areas of a square? Areas of a square is what? Is length square. That is L square. And the length of this square that I brought here is 1. So when you square 1, it's going to give you 1. Then what about the perimeter? Perimeter is talking about the measurement of the outside boundaries of any shape. So if I look at the measurement of the outside boundaries of this shape now, this is 1 plus 1, 2 plus 1, 3, plus 1, giving me what? 4. So, okay, let me try to bring up another shapes. All right, when you see this now, it's now becoming 2 by 1. That is, the length is 2 and the breadth is what? 1. When you look at the result here, it's telling me that what? The area is what? Is 2 and the perimeter is 6. And I think we all know how that. So I can continue building the area. Let me continue building the area. Now it's now what? It's now 2 by 2. So that is, the length is what? Is 2 and the breadth is what? Is 2. So what shape is this? Good. This is a square. This is a what? A square. Because all the 4 sides are what? Are equal. So the length here is what? Is 2. And when you are looking for the areas of this shape, it's going to give me 2 by what? 2 multiplied by 2, which is going to give me what? 4. And the perimeter is 8, because 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is going to give me what? 8. So let me go to another. Let's now go to game now. How do we use this as a game? Because I'm just exploring this. I can keep on exploring this. Now it's now 3 by 2. The length is 3 and the breadth is what? Is 2. So if the length is 3 and the breadth is 2, the area will give me length multiplied by breadth, which is 3 multiplied by 2, which is going to give me what? 6. Then the perimeter is going to give me what? 10. 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2. And that will give me what? 10. So now let me take this as a game now, which can be useful for students in primary school, and it can also be useful for, it can also enrich the learning outcome of a student at primary and secondary school level. So this is just like a game. I'm going to on the mic so that you can, I'm going to on my mic so that you can hear whatever I will saying here. So let me pick this, for instance. So this is a game now. This is telling me that what? I should build a shape that the area is 27. So you are going to imagine, this is now the powers of imagination now. This is where your imagination is going to work. I'm building an area that I'm building a shape that the area is going to give me 27. So what could that be? 27. What could that be? Our participant at home, we want response now on the YouTube channel. So what could this be? 27. What area can you build? What shape can you build? And the area will give you 27. Are we together? Are you still with me, Mark?
Yes, sir.
All right. So what shape can we build? And the area will give me 27. So can you please help me to check the YouTube channel if you have participants respond there?
Okay, none for now, sir. None for now, sir.
Okay, none for now. I'm building an area that is going to give me 27. So what could that be? 27. 27. So what area could give me 27? So I'm charging my participant now. You can see this is for primary school, but despite that, and when you look at it here, it's actually what? Giving us a timer. There is a timer here. Once it time off, it will tell you that you did not what? Get this. So let's continue building this. 27. Okay, this is 6. 6 multiplied by 2. That is giving me what? So let's see 9 multiplied by. So let me see how I can do this. Okay, before the time is out, let me see 9 by 3. 9 times 3 will give me what?
27.
So let me keep on building this. Can we see the way I'm building this now? Okay, now, so my length is 9 and my breadth is what? Is 3. Let me check if this is correct. Good, correct. You can hear the sound telling me that what? This is correct. So I've been able to build an area that what? That area that is 27, which the length will give me 9 and the breadth will give me 3. So I can move on to the next level. Good. It's giving me another thing. 12. I'm going to build an area that will give me 12. So can you tell me the answer? Okay, let's try that. Okay, 4, 12. So, Miss Christy, do we have any participant joining us now? Let's check if you are getting
And
it.
they are with us, but they are not asking questions.
All
They are
right,
with us.
so let's see that now. So I built an area. The instruction is that the game is that it asks me to build an area that is going to give me 12. And if I think of area that will give me 12, that is 4 multiplied by 3. So let me check if it is correct. Good, correct. Okay, let's try to see and miss something now, whether and see what it's going to tell us. I'm building an area that is a shape that the area will be 15. Another number circumstances, that should be 5 multiplied by 3. So, but I want to try to do wrong thing and see how this will be. Look at this. This is 5 multiplied by 2 will give me 10. It's not the right answer, but let's check and see what this is going to be like. You can see that? No, try again. So let me do it in the perfect way now, because I'm looking for 5 and 3. I think you can get the way I'm picking it now. All right, so let me check now. Great, this is correct. So I can keep on playing this. I have 3 more, so let me be fast so that you can look at this one now. It's trying to tell me to do another thing here, which is 8 multiplied by 3. The length is 8 and the breadth is what? Is 3. So what will be my answer? 3 and 8. So that is going to give me 24. So I'm going to tell the computer the answer. Good. Can you see that? Let me play the next one. 5, the length is 5 and the breadth is what? Is 4. What type of shape is this? Good. This is a rectangle. So what is the answer? 20. Let me check this. Correct. So once this is correct, let me be fast now. Look at this area. Now, this is, what type of shape is this? This is a compound shape. Good. This is a compound shape. In mathematics, we call this a what? A compound shape. Some people call this an irregular shape. This is not an irregular shape. It's a compound shape. It comprises of 2 different shapes. If you look at this now, this is a what? A square here. 2 by 2 is square. And that one is what? Is 4. And this is another 4 by 2. 4 by 2, that is what? That is what? That is 8. 8 plus 4, that is 16. So let me check now. 16, and let me check the answer. Correct. Can you see that? This is a what? A compound shape. So let me try to see. Good. So it's telling me that what? Great. I score 11 out of the 12, and I spend 5 minutes 14 seconds. I may decide to continue like this, and if I don't want to continue, I can move on like that. Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, I've been able to use Area Builder as one of the first simulation module on the OGSERA platform with learners at primary school level, and also it can also be useful for learners at secondary school level. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Kayode. Thank you so much. For the funniest is you had participants. People started responding and telling you rectangles. So thank you so much to our participants. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I think it's obvious already that we can carry everybody, every learner along using PhET Simulation.
I don't know if other what is it called, facilitators are still with us, but if they are not, like I said, I've used a PhET simulation that can work for primary school students, that can also work for secondary school students. Let me see the one that can work for secondary school students, for instance. There is a concept in mathematics that we call graph. So there is a PhET simulation on the OGSERA module that can actually address this. If you are to take this topic, for instance, the topic is somehow complex in nature, and the teacher will need to get the graph board and the graph sheet. But with PhET simulation module on the OGSERA platform, you can use this to enhance the learning outcome of students. So before, Ms. Christy, are you back? In order to continue engaging my participants, let me quickly go back to the PhET simulation module on the OGSERA platform to see how we can also use it for secondary school students. Before we have the next. Are you back, Ma? So while waiting for Miss Queensley so that our audience can keep on, like I said, I want to use another one with a secondary school student. So I will go back to mathematics, select mathematics. So once I select my mathematics, the next thing for me is to go to where I'm going to get my topic. So like I said, the concept is graph. So this is graph in quadratic. Miss Christy, are you here now?
Yes, sir. Yes,
All right,
sir.
so I quickly want to show my dear colleagues those one that can work with secondary school students. I've shown the one that can work with primary school students, and I said I have one here with me, which is graphing quadratic. Now, graphing quadratic as a topic in mathematics is somehow complex to the extent that if a teacher wants to take it at secondary school level, you need a graph board and you also need a graph sheet. And with these free education things, the teacher may just be, the student may be complaining that I don't have graph book, I don't have this. But with PhET simulation module, what you just need is a gadget. Possibly you get a projector, or if in your school you have an interactive board, you can make use of it. So if I want to use this now, I'll click on the view. So it has load for me. I will scroll down. Let me give some minutes for the something to load. Please, once the other facilitator are with me, just please call my attention to that so that I can give them room to also make their own presentation, ma'am. Hello, Miss Queensley.
Yes, I'm with you, sir.
Once the other facilitators are on
Noted,
ground,
sir.
all right. So let me first of all explore this, just like the way I did on the one for the primary school. This another PhET simulation that is called a graphing quadratic. By God's grace, I belong to one of the I'm one of the PhET translator at global level. So a review is going on this, where we actually have this available in all languages. So if you speak Yoruba, or let's say you don't understand English very well, very soon you are going to get a PhET simulation module on Yoruba that you can access. All this is going to be translated into Yoruba. By God's grace, I'm one of the translators at the world, one of the global translators for PhET simulation module. So how do we use this? This is a graphing quadratic, and as a teacher, if you want to teach this, it's going to take a lot of time in teaching this, because you will need your graph board. Then the student will also need a graph book or graph sheet. So let's see this concept. How does this concept work? If I scroll this now, the general form of the quadratic equation is y is equals to as squared plus bs plus c, where a is the coefficient of s squared and b is the coefficient of x, and c is what is constant. A situation whereby the coefficient of s squared becomes 0. Let's see this for instance. This becomes a linear equation. Once the coefficient of s squared becomes 0, this becomes a linear equation. So once it becomes a linear equation, there is nothing you can do. This is no more a quadratic. But let's see, if the coefficient of s squared is positive, the graph will give you U shape. If the coefficient of s squared is what? Is negative, the graph is going to give you N shape. And this is another advantage of PhET simulation module, because it adopts the real sense of it. You are going to see the real application of it. So if I move this up, it gives me positive. The coefficient of s squared is positive. It's going to give me what? U shape. If it becomes 0, and this is where the teacher will tell you that once the coefficient of x squared is 0, the what is it called? Such graph will become a linear graph. So if it becomes negative, yes, it becomes this. So let me now see the standard form now. Let me assume I'm in a class now.
Yes,
okay. So let's see this now. I want to set. Let me say I want to set.
Sir, please, I need to call your attention, sir. We have to quickly wrap up because our time is fast spent, sir.
Okay. So let me round up now. Okay, ma'am. So let me assuming this one is okay. This is 1s squared 1x squared, all right, plus 5x plus 6, which is the general one that everybody normally use. Okay, let me say this is giving me, all right, this is giving me this now. So what is the vertex of this equation? Once I check vertex, it will tell me the vertex. The vertex is minus 1.25 on x and minus 1.13 on what? On y. What is the axis of the symmetry? Can you see the axis of the symmetry? What is this root of the equation? The root of the equation is minus 2 or minus 0. What? Minus 0.5. I can actually make use of this mirror to show my answer. This is a mirror here, and come here and pick the mirror and put it on the intersection of x axis and then y axis. So thank you and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Adewale. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Miss Kingsley, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm yes, sir.
So my parting word before
Can you hear
I
me,
leave.
sir?
Yes, I can hear you. My parting word before I leave, I will tag this section now, first simulation on the OGSERA module, using this in enriching science learning outcomes in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And just like the question have come up, we believe the PhET team will work on it where we can have other subjects integrated into other subjects to have a PhET simulation module that we can use on the OGSERA module. So dear participants and dear colleagues that are joining us all over the world, and those that are joining us the teachers in Ogun State, the PhET simulation module is available for you on the OGSERA platform, and you can use this to enrich the learning outcome of students in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And it is there for you to use both public and primary, both public and private school can actually make use of this, and it's also available for students. So thank you and God bless you. So I think I can take my leave now. Thank you, Mrs. Quinsley. Thanks for having me here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Adewale. Thank you so much. We are so honored to have you here, and thank you for always yielding to our call anytime we call you. So thank you. I'm also using this medium to appreciate every participant and all our facilitators. And also, I want to also, one more time, I want to crave our indulgence that PhET simulation on your OGSERA or your EduTimes platform is not only strictly for senior secondary school classes. So please search for materials and pick the one that is suitable to your class. You can engage them via projector, you can engage them individually, and you can engage the entire class. And we hope to make education more fun and interactive. So once again, I'm saying thank you so much to the entire team, and we really appreciate all of the hard work. So at this point, we would have to end this training and meeting. Thank you so much, everybody. So I would say, please do have a great day ahead. Once again, I'm Quinsley Ademola. Thank you so much. Please do have a great day. Goodbye.